Hey guys, Chris Dunn here, aka the Boogie Man. On this episode of Boogie Tech, it's a Boogie Man Gasser update. Awesome news. We got our pistons in. We got these in a couple of weeks ago. Well, actually about a week and a half ago. And I spent all day yesterday doing valve to piston clearance. A couple of years ago, we made a mold of our head and combustion chamber and all that, and sent that to Diamond. So Diamond now has our pistons on file. So when we need a set of pistons, we just call them and they can fabricate them up and send them to us. They can even, when we change a cam, we'll let them know and they can change the dome design to fit that cam's duration, lift, etc. So that's awesome to know that we can do that. You know what I mean? So it was a $50 mold kit to really get that started. So you guys might ought to think about it. When you mold that piston to the combustion chamber, it's just a way more efficient burn, and it just makes more power. But what I like to do yesterday when I was doing valve to piston is we shouldn't have to cut these, and we don't, which is great. But what I wanted to check is we moved the cam around in our engine a good bit, especially on the dyno. We'll advance the cam or retard the cam because, it kind of don't really make as much more power as much as it kind of just moves some things around to where you might want to run it. So what I like to do is I retard back a couple of degrees, and then I put clay in it and I do a real-time check. I actually I put the head gasket on, I put the head on, I put the lifters in, I put the valve, the push rods in, I put the valve train on, and I do real time. I love real time checking where there's no guessing. So it takes me 3 to 4 hours to really check this, because time I bolt this down and torque it a little bit, take that back off, inspect the clay, advance the cam or retard the cam like I was doing, just to double check that we can play with that cam and still not tag a piston. We make sure that the valve, the pocket here, release good where it stays away from the side of the valve. So it always works out really great. The other thing I do when the pistons come in is I number them and I date them. This set of pistons is still good. Number 6 was the only bad piston we had, but I went ahead. We had cut these pistons a little bit for a little bit different cam. So I really didn't, we wasn't as efficient as we needed to be. So basically, that's the one reason I bought all new pistons, so we could get, them tolerances tightened up, which will tighten, raise our compression up a little bit, and, hopefully make us a little bit more power. Something we're going to do to these pistons that I've done in my backup engine, but we're going to take it a step further. We're going to go send these off and have them coated. So the reason we don't buy them pre-coated is because we're going to actually hone this block. I'm going to tear this down tomorrow night, take it to Wayne Celeste's. We're going to hone every cylinder to where we want it, even if it's over, 3 or 4 or 5, 6 thousandths, because we're going to send these to the coater, and each piston, I always number it. So number 1 piston goes with number 1 hole, and then we'll send them records that this hole measures this, and this, and all 8 holes measure, will most likely measure different. It's hard to get them perfectly, within the tent. But then what they'll do is they'll coat this piston with enough coating to fit that hole perfect. So that's the reason we wait till after we hone the block to have these coated. And then they overcoat them just a little bit so they'll conform to the cylinder. So when I go to crank this engine up, I have to do it on a test stand and run it through a break-in procedure for the coating. But I'm telling you, I pulled the other pistons out a while back, and that coating is worth it, man. It looks so awesome. The step further we're going to do is I'm going to have the tops coated with a ceramic heat barrier coating. If anybody knows Carburetor Bob, is where a lot of the SEG gets their carburetors from and does a lot of tuning on people's cars, and that's where we do all our tuning at his dyno, and he does all our carburetor work. And he's a book of knowledge, and he was always telling me, cast iron heads will make more power than aluminum heads. He said, but you just can't get the variation of cast iron heads you can in aluminum. You just can't do it. And I said, well, explain that to me. Why? I said, why would it do that? Because the cast iron don't move? He said, oh, no. And you got to think about this. Aluminum is a big heat sink. So the reason a cast iron head, if you had an aluminum head here and a cast iron head and they was identical, the cast iron head is going to make more power. And you go, well, why? Well, the charge stays hotter in the cast iron head. The head ain't sucking the heat off of it, right? So that aluminum head sucks the heat off of that combustion chamber. Well, you know, heat is power. So if you can keep that charge good and hot, then you're going to make better power, better cylinder pressure, and here we go. So the theory behind this coating, and they swear it works, and I can see it, is now they coat the top of these pistons with a ceramic heat barrier coating, which keeps the charge hotter, and it don't let the piston absorb the heat as much. So now the piston runs a little cooler, it don't grow as much, you know, and there's a lot of benefits to that. So we're going to send these off. We'll have them back in a couple of weeks. We'll do another episode on that so you can see how they, you know, come back and what the coating looks like and whatnot. So that's just awesome. I want to take a minute and say thank you to everybody supporting the channel. We just started the channel back up. It has went crazy again. You know, our watch time numbers are up like crazy. Our subs are coming back on up. I wouldn't have thought, you know, letting the channel sit for 6 months and then firing the channel back up, that it would probably almost a year that we kind of let it, not really sit dormant, but not as hard as we was. But man, I'm blown away. People have just rallied right back to the channel, and the channel's on its way back up again. And man, we appreciate that. Without you guys, this channel don't mean nothing. So, now to the fans on the Boogie Man Gasser, we hope to have this engine back together within a month. Then we're going to go to the dyno. Then we're going to do some testing, and then we'll let people know where we're going to race. Because people keep asking me, we are going to race this year. It's just going to be later in the year, and I promise you we will put out where we're going to race. So you guys just stay tuned to the channel, stay tuned to our Facebook page, and we'll let you know where we're going to race. Again, thank you for supporting the channel. Just remember to subscribe, like, and don't forget to hit that notification button. Chris Dunn, a.k.a. the Boogie Man.